my God, it's so cool. I'm just dying. It's upsetting. Ugh. Hello and welcome back. Oh, do I have something fun in store for you today? So, this has already come up a couple times in the comments, and people suggested that I check out The Who. I already knew about this band and had been listening to them for some time because something that I'm really passionate about is finding and listening to bands and people that are traditionally underrepresented in a space because I think that they have many interesting things to say and that we can learn from. And so The Who, being from Mongolia, has some really interesting things to add to the metal scene, I think. I'm also very supportive of indigenous people in metal as well, which is why I'm wearing my land back shirt today. Very supportive. I love it, especially when they infuse some of, the more traditional sounds in music as well. The non-traditionally like Western sounding metal to me is really, really interesting, like with alien weaponry, as well as, for example, Bloodywood, of course, that also incorporate more of the traditional Indian sound into the music. And The Who does this as well with the tube and throat singing, which is so cool. And also, I just love to listen to this stuff. And Tanger Cavalry is another good example. And so I'm really enjoying this recent sort of rise in these more traditional sounds in metal, and also bands from places that we're not really as familiar with. They're not like the typically European bands or American or British, So I think that is so incredibly cool, and I'm absolutely loving this. And if you have any recommendations for other bands that I should be checking out, like I don't care if they're small. I also found out about this smaller African band called Arkan. They're amazing as well, and they use some of the more traditional African sounds in that too. Absolutely love that. I think they're from Togo, if I'm not mistaken. Had to quickly confirm that, but yes, they're from Togo. And they're absolutely amazing as well. And so I've really been trying to find more bands from more spaces around the world, especially indigenous bands as well. And so, yes, all of that aside, I'm really stoked to check out this video in particular. It's Black Thunder from The Who, and they later on, after they released this, they did a collab with a couple of American performers like Serj Tankian to sort of remix this song specifically, but I'm going to look at the original one because the video is just so stunning. I'm not going to get too much into it ahead of watching the video with you. So let's just go. But yes, this was pretty mind-boggling. Yeah, so let's go. Okay, just wanted to talk about that intro for a second before we get into the body of the song. Oh, those landscapes, doesn't that make you want to go there like now? Oh, it's just stunning. They're beautiful drone shots, like really slow, and just what more do you need? Like this is just like it reels you in, like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? I also love that they open with their logo as if it's like a production company like we see in movies. It really sets you up to feel like you're heading into a movie. So cool. This is so stunning. Again, like we're only 2 minutes in and we still haven't gotten, we're almost 2 minutes in, we still haven't gotten to the actual like song yet. I don't mind though, because it's such a good intro and it's like so atmospheric and it's really like building a lot of tension. Also, like the mouth harp that it starts with, so cool. Again, like really adds the tension and really adds to building the setting and the space that we're in. And just, oh my goodness, those mountains. Stunning. Just beautiful. And what's really fun to see as well is here, shooting in bright daylight like this is really hard. Because you can already tell here is that they really had to really close their aperture a lot, which means that, they had to change the f value that they were shooting with. We're not in a very, like, sometimes you'll hear me talking about a shallow depth of field. This is very um, big depth of field. Like they're shooting at like f7 or even greater because there was just so much light. So you have to really constrict your aperture so that less light comes in. So we're not seeing like this is relatively sharp. I mean, it's not sharp, but we're definitely seeing that this here in the background, for example, is also still fairly sharp. On top of that, you can tell that in the color grade, they try to take out a lot of the highlights as well because it's looking just slightly off. I don't want to say that's a bad thing, but you can just, from what I can tell anyway, you can kind of tell that they try to mute the incredible brightness of it all a little bit more. And the shadows are also just incredibly dark. That's another color grading choice that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the brightness on the day, but there's just a large contrast between the brightness and the really dark shadows in here. So it's interesting. Like overall, it looks relatively dark for what it would probably was during the day. It's also a little like more saturated, I think. So it's an interesting look. It's very punchy. Yet it's still, because it is a little bit darker, it's still a little bit moody. So I love that we have these beautiful costumes and these props here. Like immediately, all of we're right in the middle of this story, right? I don't know. I'm just imagining what's gonna happen. I mean, I've seen it before, so I know what's gonna happen, but still, like it's so incredibly cinematic, and I love that they're building this story, obviously without any dialogue. There's also a beautiful shot. You can kind of see what I was talking about before here. Even the foreground and the background are fairly sharp, and it looks like it was a very bright day. Again, love what he has here. And there's a brief moment, but okay, so we have this little jar here with some stuff in it. Does anyone know what this is? I'm really curious. I have no idea. But it's a beautiful close-up. And this here, now you can actually see the shallow field of depth of field that I'm talking about, because here it's only his hand and this little jar that is in focus. And already here, you see this plane here is where we already lose focus. And the background here is also very blurry, which is really beautiful and adds to that cinematic vibe that we all know and love. Love the texture of what he's wearing here, his costume. It's just feeling very rich. Very rich. Stunning. Same here, very, very shallow depth of field. We have some beautiful bokeh in the foreground here, which is just beautiful in contrast with his skin and the texture of his skin and the beard, as well as the hat that he's wearing. And then here again is really, really, really blurry. So this here is actually really shallow depth of field. And sometimes it's a choice, actually. It may not have been the brightness necessarily. And to be fair, like we use ND filters a lot, and ND stands for neutral density, and they actually allow you to make your footage a lot darker during the day. So it's actually a physical filter that you put in front of your lens, you screw it on or you place it in front and whatever type of setup that you're using. And it's very possible that they still did that and just chose to shoot the landscapes in a far larger aperture. So f7 and up. Love this close up, by the way, of the logo here on the staff or looking glass. It's not a looking glass, but it's definitely like some sort of staff here. And it's really beautiful because we know what it stands for. It's the logo of the WHO because we saw it in the intro. So that's very beautiful. Again, very shallow depth of field here. Just stunning. Like we barely even see his hands here. Beautiful. Beautiful shot here too. It's just something else, man. It's just so good. These shots, love, love this. Love the little flowers in the foreground. I don't know. This is just so cool. And it's we just have a few of these shots and it's also intentional. It feels really cinematic and really well thought out. We have a lot of setups. Stunning. Look at this. Oh, I skipped ahead a little bit. Whoopsie. And this is the shot that I saw right before I paused it. This, my friends, my goodness, look at that because we can see that his hand is right behind the sun here. It's obscuring the sun. So this, his hand would actually be really dark because it's technically being blown out by the sun. And so they may have used a bounce or a light to lighten up his hand here so that we would see this. But look at how much of this texture we see here. It's looking so smooth. And this here, it's a beautiful shot. I love the wispiness of the clouds here. It's such a perfect shot. I love stuff like this. Oh, it just makes my heart go boom, boom, boom. I love it. Oh, it's a painting. It really is. Anyway, this is just beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Now we're actually getting into the story. Maybe I paused it too soon before, but before we get into the rest of the video, because all of a sudden a lot more extra showed up, I wanted to just quickly look at this little sequence here because there's a couple things I noticed. There's some beautiful transitions here. So first of all, I think that they're probably either wearing a Steadicam here. I mean, it must be. It looks so cinematic. I think that it was probably shot on a cinema camera or a cinema rig. So here they're moving really smoothly to his right. I would say that's Steadicam. And then we have this moment here where they pull focus. And I talk about pulling focus quite a bit here on the channel. It's pretty hard, especially when it's done fast. We've seen some of that in Madonna's Frozen. And then here we have a very slow focus pull from with a very shallow depth of field. So we're only seeing these little stalks of grass here. And then we're very slowly pulling focus to the guys in the background, which again is so atmospheric and beautiful. It's really, again, it's like a moving painting. Look at this. Oh, I wish they would have hung around on that shot just slightly longer. But then we move straight into this shot, which is we actually zoom in and then we transition to this kid's eye and we zoom out. I don't know if we're actually that is an indication that we're moving back in time. This is a technique that we often use to do that. Uh, and I never actually realized that before, only because now I'm looking at it more analytically that I'm feeling like, oh, maybe this is what they're intending to do here. But I might be off. I don't remember exactly. It's been some time that I saw the video, but this is beautiful. I love this zooming in and then zooming out on the kid's eye. Just beautiful. It's still so cool. It almost feels like a sort of Mongolian Game of Thrones. I wish this was a movie. I would watch this 100%. if it was. Are there any movies like this that are telling these stories? Let me know in the comments. I want to watch it. Maybe there's something that they have made in Mongolia that tells these stories, you know? I don't know exactly the story and the lore here, so also please share with me. Maybe it's Genghis Khan, I don't know, but it's so beautiful. Oh, it's almost painful. Like, how am I gonna live up to this as a filmmaker for, music videos? Like, they were like, oh yeah, the bar is here. Let us just like raise it to here. Very annoying. So beautiful. So beautiful. Look at this costume, man. Like, what the costumes, the props, and then the horses. Come on now. Oh, even like the camp and everything, and we have this beautiful landscape. It is so good. Love this close up, and they put a light here to really make the white pop, and you kind of see it in the rim, which is translucent. Really, really beautiful. Such good prop work here. I don't know who the DP is for this, but the way that they used light in this really makes me think that this must be people who work in film and TV, because this here, the way that this is lit is stunning, very cinematic. And something that I have repeated on the channel here a couple of times is that what makes a video or a movie feel cinematic is not necessarily the type of camera that you're using, which sure, it makes a big difference. You're using, the right lenses, you're using the right apertures, the shallow depth of field that we talk about a lot can add to making it feel cinematic. However, if your lighting is flat or, plain wrong, that takes away the illusion immediately. But what makes it feel cinematic is when you have someone who understands how to light a face, how to light a space. For example, that shot with the filling of the jug or the horn, that feels very cinematic as well because it was so beautifully lit. And it also reminds me a little bit of a similar setting that we saw in a video by Any Given Day, which I'll link, which is in a bar setting. And the Shiloh Bros who directed that, and Florian Berwanger, who is their DP for Electric Callboy, who does a lot of their videos anyway, they are also very adept at lighting. And that's what makes it feel cinematic. You know what I mean? It's just really great. Really, really, really beautiful. For example, here, beautiful lighting. It's funny that we're a little bit off kilter because it looks like like the horizon is just ever so slightly crooked, but we're moving through here with a steady cam. And again, here, beautiful lighting. I love that we have this guy in front and we're focused on this dude here as they're drinking. Stunning. And then the horse comes in. Oh, and this stuff is so hard to film too if you don't know how to do it. So either they had a drone fly with the horse and had it focus on the horse, or they drove along with a car with the rig on top. I don't know. Those are two possibilities, which I would love to see. I don't know if they have a BTS for this, but if they do, please share it with me because I would love to watch it. Maybe we can watch it together. I might post it on Patreon or something. But there's so much to discover here and how they made this video. It's just insane. And the jumping off the horse, I don't know if they had stunt people work on this too, because that's not something that any random person can do. Like, you need someone who's able to actually ride the horse, jump off the horse. There's so many people involved, and that's another thing with music videos. Usually is that because the budgets aren't that high, we tend to keep the scope so much smaller, which is clearly not the case here. It's like it's just this is another shot here that really makes me think like, okay, these people know what they're doing lighting wise, because this is another really, really, really cool shot. And it's a choice to focus all of the light on outside to really show how these people are sort of watching this guy who's walking in. Just beautiful. And then song finally hits off and we're introduced to the band and we finally start playing the song, and they are dressed very differently. They're firmly placed in like the now, Even though their outfit, this jacket that he's wearing still sort of fits with the theme as well. And obviously it's still filmed very similarly, like they used similar setups, it looks like, to shoot them, so it's still coherent with the rest of the film video. My God, it's so cool. I'm just dying. It's upsetting. Ugh. I just look at all these costumes. Look at all these this tents as well. It's just so beautiful. And then we have the band here. They have these horses running around them. It's really beautiful. We're clearly at a different time of day though, or maybe a different day altogether. Probably this took them a lot of time to shoot, I have no doubt. And then we have this scene, so much going on, so many people, it's just beautiful. This here, beautiful shot. I love this. This is the kid that we saw before, and he's looking, right? He's watching. I especially love that we have the band in such contrasting colors because we haven't seen bright colors like this yet. And look at the instruments as well. These are all custom made. There's such eye for detail here. It's just stunning. Stunning. Another beautiful shot. It's really overcast here, contrasting to the really bright days that we had before. And it is so much easier to shoot on days that are more overcast. You're not dealing with that really, really bright light. It's really easy for your footage to get blown out or for, shadows to look really harsh. And here you can see like the shadows are much softer. And that is basically because the clouds are serving as sort of a bit of a filter to dim the strength of the sun a little bit. So it's really beautiful. We're seeing here a little bit more of those bright colors as well, actually. So I'm not entirely correct about not seeing this before. But I do love how much the band stands out in between the horses and nature. This is just so special. How unusual. It just continues to be great. This is also a great moment, by the way, where we had the horse running in slow motion and we got the guy here moving in slow motion. Stunning, so smooth. We could have seen a little bit more of that, to be honest. Like I feel like it would have added some to how the music is paced. And in terms of critique, there may be just one point of critique that I have, and that would be that there's a significant difference in some of the color grading, and I'll show you. So here you can see that the color grading is fairly yellow. They took out a lot of the greens, so it's making the grass and the trees look a lot more yellow and almost browny compared to what we were seeing before, where if you look here, for example, we were seeing something extremely saturated, and sometimes filmmakers do that because it's part of the narrative of the story. However, I feel like here it's a little bit jarring because there's nothing really in the story that really calls for it. I was thinking for a moment, like maybe it's the grade that they chose to show the band, but then we also see it here. Here too, it's very yellow greenish, everything looks a little bit yellow tinged. And then we have the moment where we cut back to the other side where things are greener again and a little bit more blue toned, a little bit, cooler. So we have a very warm grade and then we cut back to a cool grade. Then we go back to the warm grade and there's the much, much cooler grade again. And so this also messes a little bit with the color of their skin tone. They don't really look very even because of that. And that is something that I personally would have spent a little bit more time on, but you never quite know why they made these choices, or maybe there was something that caused them to have to do this. But that would be my one critique, and it's so small, and most people wouldn't even notice. But it's definitely something that stands out a little bit to me. For me, I really like this cool tone a little bit more because it really contrasts very nicely with this metal and all the browns that they got going because they are complementary colors. The blue with, pink and red, orange tones. It always looks really nice, this contrast. Whereas here, it's all a little bit more samey looking, which is making it look a little bit more muddy. Then again, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about the color grade here. I'm really curious, especially if you've been following along on my videos a little bit longer. Maybe you have a little bit more of an understanding now of how we look at these things. That would be really exciting for me if you feel like you've uh, learned a little bit here on the channel, you know? So anyway, let's just look at the final part because I'm just loving this. Like, all the color grade stuff said, and it doesn't even matter. Like the whole here is just so spectacular. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I didn't mention it before because I wanted to take a specific look at the ending. But basically sort of the story sort of takes a different pace when this guy's, this is the main guy that we saw in the tent before. He is now on the field. He's riding his horse. And then this guy shows up who has such interesting eyes and my goodness, what a textured face. Really beautiful. Like I don't know. I love texture. If it's like skin or hair or facial hair or whatever, it just brings so much visual interest. It's beautiful, beautiful, especially here contrasting with the red. It's just a stunning shot. Beautiful. And this here too, it's so beautiful. And then these guys here in the hills show up for like a big battle. The costumes. Insane. And I don't know what kind of, maybe because they're walking in the field here, a lot of bugs are flying around. That doesn't look like something they added in post, you know? Really, 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 really beautiful. Love this close-up shot. Again, really shallow depth of field. We have some beautiful rim light here from the sun. So it's really making his face stand out so much. Stunning. What a beautiful shot. I feel like we have so many different setups here. We have these beautiful reflections here in the lens, which is because of the sun, which I think is here. It must be earlier in the day here. And the sky is again quite different. We have some shadows here, which may be caused by some bigger clouds, more thick clouds overhead. And it's just beautiful. Again, a beautiful contrast here with the red in the field. Really, really, really beautiful. And then this bit here, which feels, again, so cinematic. Stunning. I just can't. Such great visuals. The amount of work that this must have been. Again, stunt people, I'm sure, Maybe not though. Maybe just had their main actors do this. I don't know. Just beautiful. Like, I don't know. This is a movie, man. This is so cool. I'm just in awe. I continue to be in awe of the stuff that they do. And I should probably check out more of theirs. Let me know in the comments if there's other videos. Should I be watching more of these videos? Should we deconstruct more? Is there more that's this cinematic? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear what you think about this video and how this, I mean, this is 2 years old at this point, this video, and it's just an absolutely stunning piece of work. Anyway, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Coming out on Discord where we talk about movies and music videos and music and games and all that good stuff. We have a really nice growing little community over there. It's been so fun to get to know some of you better. You can also support me on Patreon, where you get access to some of my work that isn't available to the public yet, as well as you get to read some of my stuff that isn't available to the public because I'm intending on shooting it eventually. You get early access to some of my videos, all that good stuff. Either way, in the meantime, all my love to you. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace.